Let's see.
Keep on
JT,
reading.
Mr. Tancredi said there weren't any. That's why PlayStation Showcase sucked. We saw nothing but Spider-Man and a few games of service from that show. Rick said, I saw plenty from me on both Showcase. Definitely a draw, in my humble opinion. Winners are the ones now tied. The winners are the ones not tied to a platform.
Okay, keep on reading.
John says, hashtag team not simping for a plastic box is on a roll.
You are listening to Trophy Horse with your hosts, Tricky Mick, Alex, I Yield to No One,
Steve,
and Sid.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Trophy Horrors. I am your host this week, Alex, as we got quite a bit to cover, including the Summer Games Fest. But before we get into all the goodies of this week, I got my co-host riding with me. It is, first and foremost, he brings the awesome I Yield to No One.
I got my head out the window, and hopefully I don't get blown to Oz.
I thought you were making a reference to like a dog and how a dog likes to stick its head out a car window, but
you said I was riding with you, so I got my head out the window.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, although you're going to have to fight JT for shotgun, for whoever whoever gets to sit up front with me, since I'm driving this locomotive. JT, sir, how are you?
Doing good. Poop socks are engaged. Poop socks are engaged.
That's a hell of a reference. The first time we've ever had poop socks talked about. Well,
no, I low key slip them in your show. Whenever I'm on.
Okay. I just never noticed. That's more of a Loot Bros thing, right?
Yeah. Well, it's more of a me thing that I just say to be stupid.
Trademarked. That one's for John Tancredi, our buddy John. We were supposed to have you on. I think it was the episode that we had Patrick on to talk about WrestleQuest. And of course, with so many guests on, we figured that it'd be best just to have you on another week. But you're finally on with us, so I'm glad you were able to join us tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And you might actually be on a historic episode of Trophy Horrors, episode 575, because it may be the first time one of our hosts gets blown away by a tornado. Yield might get blown to Oz tonight. So, I mean, we were hoping that doesn't happen,
yeah.
Yield, but it if you go silent, we can only assume the worst.
Yeah, only the worst.
Yield is currently recording through a tornado. Is it a watch or a warning, Yield?
It was a warning. Our siren went off, but supposedly it's south of us. They just do it for the whole county if part of your county is going to get hit.
Okay, so the watch is when it's actually hit the ground, correct?
No, the warning is when there is the thunderstorm has rotation in it that could develop one.
But when it's actually hit the ground, when it's a tornado watch.
No, the watch is the conditions are likely. For up here, they throw out warnings if they see rotation on the radar. See, there goes the siren again. You probably can't hear it. Siren's going off again.
Oh, well, no, I mean, that could only add to the excitement of the show, having tornado sirens going off in the background. So if we can hear those, we may keep those in there, just so people understand.
Air raid!
Just so people understand how much effort and care we put into each one of these shows.
I don't seek cover until I see it coming, so don't worry.
Well, you got a basement, don't you?
Yeah.
All right, well, fellas, everybody had a good week this week?
Yeah. I was at a wedding.
Very nice. Was it a wedding, like just for like a friend, a family member?
It was my cousin. I was a groomsman.
Most excellent. I'm sure you did a great job, JT.
I look pimpin'.
There you go.
Swell.
Well, I've seen your Facebook picture. You're all nice and dressed up, so you're just always looking stylish.
I fit really good in a tux.
Man has a style. Man's very dapper. Can't take that away from you, sir.
I usually wear my style is usually like button downs and polos. I don't.
That's more impressive than me, JT, because usually I look like I'm going to a comic book convention with all like the pop culture t-shirts that I wear. I usually don't catch me out in a polo unless we're doing something nice like, Mother's Day brunch or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, well,
it grows worse the bigger my tummy gets.
maybe it grows worse the bigger your tummy. You got to eat, man. You got to eat.
Yeah.
Who knows? But hey, you got a puppy, so maybe y'all go out and go for if this stomach ever getting too big, just get out there and go for a walk.
Oh, I always go
puppy.
for a walk. The only reason why I'm not quote unquote fat is because I walk way too much. Instead of driving, I elect to walk.
That is a good choice, my friend. A good choice. And also, you probably stay away from the Mountain Dew quite a bit, unlike most gamers.
I don't
see you as a Mountain Dew guy.
I don't drink a lot of... I only drink soda whenever I'm like at a restaurant. I don't have it in the house. I drink water. And the occasional beer. Like one beer a day.
Well, hey, that sounds like you're doing it right. Moderation and plenty of water. Got to keep those kidney stones away.
For sure.
Yield, did you update these trophies, sir?
Yes, sir, I did.
Most excellent. And JT's as well?
I
manually imported mine because Tricky Mick put question marks on mine.
Good old copy and paste job.
His little leaderboard fucked up.
Look, we understand that you're the commish, JT, and you got to have everything organized over there in the backlog beatdown, but here on Trophy Horrors, Tricky is not nearly as organized, and you just got to forgive him for that. We can't hold that against him.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to hold it against him, though.
Well, you know what? You're a grown-ass man, you can do what you want, sir. I'm not going to stop you. But let's, before we get into all the big news of the week, why don't we go ahead and do our updated trophy counts, brought to you by I Yield to No One Industries. Tricky Mick is level 872 with a total trophy count of 28,026 and a platinum count of 768. I am level 480, total trophy count of 8,790 and a platinum count of 146 in 145 games. Yield.
Whoa. Wasn't ready yet. I am currently a level 499 with a trophy count of 9645 and a platinum count of 174.
Sid, our friend from across the pond, one of our many friends from across the pond, is level 832 with a total trophy count of 23,108. And JT, sir, you got your trophies in front of you?
Yes, I am level 639 with a trophy count of 9,977. I am coming up to that 10,000. Platinum count of 403 and 409 games completed, with an 89.39% completion ratio.
Yeah, just above me. But we're talking about your second account that you specifically switched to get a better percentage, correct?
No, I gave up on the 100% on this account.
Oh, that's right. I remember talking about that.
I can't do it anymore because Killzone Shadowfall servers are offline. I purposely did that because I didn't want to. I'm fine with just getting it being above 85% completion.
Yeah, honestly, one of my goals for this year, JT, was to hit 88%, and I've done that. And now I think maybe I can get to 89%. So I'm nipping at your heels there, but I don't know if I'll ever overtake you.
If you have aspirations to get beyond 90%, you'll probably get there.
Well, at this point, all I got to do is keep playing games and 100% in them, and I'll eventually get to 90%.
Also, the fact that I'm switching to PC. So
you'll eventually come back to PlayStation.
I'm probably not going to be on all that much. Yeah, with a good exclusive, yeah. I think the issue is that I'm not really the biggest fan of Sony exclusives because they're not exactly... They're pretty normalized, and I'm a weeaboo.
So you want more Japanese influence on your PlayStation games?
Yeah, because there's no woke agenda in them.
Well, it seems like you're right, like a lot of the Sony first-party stuff that's really, really big, Spider-Man, God of War, Horizon, even stuff like Days Gone is very much a Western-focused, Europe and the US, so.
Yep, for sure. And they try to make it equal, representation too, which is fine in moderation, I guess.
Hey, but you know what? With PS5, you'll be able to play Final Fantasy 16 before anything else.
Yeah, but I think I'd rather wait until it hits Steam 2 years after. Because playing a action role playing game at 250 hertz seems better than 60 hertz.
It is the larger number, and is one of the PC master race there, JT. Anything you tell me about PC, I'll probably believe. Because I'm like, oh, no, I don't know. JT knows what he's talking about, so.
Well, nah, I mean, I'm upgrading my video card, so I'm gonna get every mileage I can out of this.
All right, well, we've been through our trophy list here, and I know that you're jumping off ship to go to PC, JT, but we do love to hear about the PC as well. It's all part of the ecosystem, so, regardless of what console you've been playing it on, what have you been playing recently?
So recently I've been playing something that's only Japanese on the PlayStation side, but on the PC there's an English version. It is called The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. It is a JRPG. It's a classic. So the style of this JRPG is like the older PS1, PS2, early PS2 JRPGs, where it's top-down, 3D environment, pixelated characters. So it's a very old-school JRPG. And I recommend it if you're into things like Grandia or stuff like that. Very good, very good. The whole series, like everything that Neon Falcon does, isn't bad in my opinion. They're a pretty great team. Those are the developers.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yes, so I've been playing, because I am still technically playing on the PlayStation. Like, I'm going to finish up a few games, try and reclaim 90% completion, and get to 10,000 trophies. I'm playing Life is Strange for the PS4 and Star Wars Jedi Survivor on the PS5.
Any thoughts on Jedi Survivor so far?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think the only issue I have with it is that the game has texture issues, which indirectly destroy gameplay in a way. I think, not gameplay, the frames in which the frames destroy the gameplay. But it's not so much a detriment as people would think. Like, it gets annoying occasionally when you're going into like one of those super fast load screens and then like it comes out and you just like slogging a bit, you're lagging a bit, like your character kind of freezes up and then like 10 seconds later it just like everything loads in and you're just popped out, you're somewhere else and it's just weird. But altogether the game is actually solid. I enjoy it. I think it's a great sequel.
And you played the first game?
I planned.
Okay, I mean, I didn't mean to insult you. I was just curious because sometimes people don't go back and play a game.
A week ago.
Oh, so you played it recently?
Yeah.
He burned. No, I shouldn't say burned through it, but he played through it before he went to the next one.
Yeah, I planned it. Well, I wouldn't say I burnt through it. I don't know if I would call 2 weeks burning through it. I feel like Red Bear Rick would do it in 5 days.
Him or Mark Duplex. But, I mean, you're right. Rick has been ripping off games recently, catching up to George.
Really long games and doing them in times that I'm kind of questioning his health. I'm worried for him in a way. He's playing these great games, but like he's getting them done way too quick, and they're like 60 to 100-hour games, and I'm like, what the dude? You have a son, you have all these things you have to do, and you're doing this too? That can't be healthy.
You're worried about his sleep, really?
Yeah. I did auto pop the Fallen Order.
You mean on like you from PS? You played it on one console and then auto popped it on another?
Yeah. My stance on the auto pop stuff is that's not cheating because it's allowed on the leaderboard, so I don't think it's cheating. I'm the type of person that's pretty like on the books about it. If it's allowed, it's allowed. You can do whatever the hell you want with it. But if it's not allowed, then you fucking hack.
So you think like even like auto popping should be allowed in say like the backlog beatdown or the rare?
No. I'm saying in general, just like in general, when somebody says that Tricky is hacking because he's auto popping, I think they're just generalizing it, and he's not hacking. That's not the hacking. The hacking is the fuel and the SOCOM, but like what he's doing now isn't hacking. No, it's not against any regulation or rules. It's a feature in PlayStation's ecosystem. So it's not against any. I have nothing against it, but I would never allow it on the backlog beatdown because that is cheesy in a way, and I kind of wanted to make it more like a be legit, so we didn't have to do that again.
All right, fair enough. JT, you been playing anything else this week that you want to mention?
BioShock on the PC. There's no Steam achievements, so I was just thinking about just like playing the story for fun, you know. Not have to worry, since I don't have to worry about it.
Yield, sir, what have you been playing this week?
So, I just had it up. There we go. So, I've been playing some Deep Rock Galactic, some Rocket League, some Borderlands 3. We took a couple of weeks off. Me, the Brain, Homer gets duffed, and Prepare to Die or Scum. Took a couple of weeks off from our Friday co-op gaming. And so we jumped back in this past Friday to Borderlands, the pre-sequel. Did a little Power Wash Simulator the other day. Nitro and myself jumped into Zombie Army Trilogy. And he hadn't played it yet, so him and I are working through the story mode together. I have played through it, so him and I are working through Sniper Elite difficulty right now. And then we got some Horde modes to do, and then we'll help each other get the platinums for that. Little World of Warship Legends, and I also been playing a game called American Fugitive. And that's it.
Yeah, I have seen that on the PlayStation 5 where it says what friends are online and what you've been playing. What exactly is American Fugitive? So
it's a top-down game. Easiest thing to compare it to is remember, not I didn't play it, I don't know how many of you have, but Grand Theft Auto before it went third person. So it's top down that way. So you play as a gentleman who is framed for your father's murder, and then now you're trying to find out who did it. So, you can drive vehicles, go in and out of houses, stuff like that. It's not a bad game. Actually, it's a lot more fun than what I thought it would be. I got it on the cheap. Trailer looked kind of cool. I'll give this game a try. And I was going... as I go through games, I finished up Kena and stuff, and I was like, I'm going to start a new game. So I was scrolling through my games, and I'm like, you know what? I've been wanting to play this. I'm going to fire it up. And I wasn't expecting much. I didn't spend much on it. It's been more fun than what I thought it was going to be. So I would recommend some people to get it if you like that kind of game. But like I always say, watch the trailer. Maybe look up some gameplay of somebody playing it, watch it a little bit, see if that's more you. Because I'm not like 100% everybody should play it, but it is fun.
Yeah, you think about, GTA and that big jump it had from the second game to the third game, and few games, in fact, maybe no game has benefited more from shifting its perspective than Grand Theft Auto. Because now it's a mega hit, whereas before, like, most of the people who play it now probably would have never played it before. And
Exactly.
in fairness, like a lot of the constraints of the the systems they were being developed on, you just couldn't do that until the PS2 days. But just the ability to move that to a different, like a more open world sandbox theme was just like the biggest decision in the world for that game, and really benefited obviously Take-Two and Rockstar a lot. So
it's a cash cow.
oh yeah, I mean it's obviously still in the top 10 of sales, even years after Grand Theft Auto 5 has been out. So it's like the evergreen game as far as sales goes. It just keeps selling. So, and it'll keep selling until the day we get Grand Theft Auto 6. And you guys have been playing a lot. I'm a little bit more boring because I hadn't been doing a ton. We got a new season in Rocket League, so I did play some Rocket League on Wednesday night, the first day of the new season. Went and saw Transformers with some friends, the new Transformers movie on Thursday. So
All right. Let me know. How is it? Before you go any further, I want to know if this movie's worth watching.
Yes.
It is? Okay.
It is worth seeing in theaters. What I will say is, I think this movie, my biggest criticism is that this movie will benefit from a director's cut if it ever comes out, because at an hour and 57 minutes, it feels like there needs to be some more time in it. Now, we don't need another bloated 3.5 hour, 3 hour Transformers movie, but if this movie even had, I would say 20 more minutes, I think it would really benefit from it, because it feels like we get to, the most important piece that we get, I don't want to give any spoilers, but it just feels like we get to things really quickly. And I think
not enough meat in the story.
Well, for the humans, there are the human side. I think that they do a lot of meat on the story, and I think that they did the humans in this movie were better than the other movies. Marky Mark and Sam Witwicky. But I think that one of the biggest criticisms I've seen is that they don't do enough with the Maximals. So, as a Maximal, I mean, the Maximals were the entire reason I would see this movie first day in theaters. If not, I would have, and I like the Autobots, but I probably would have waited till it got out of theaters to see this, if not for the Maximals. So, I think that people want more time from the Maximals, or more time featuring them on screen, which I agree with, but they are still, a huge part of the movie, so it's not like they're, completely on the back burner.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry, are the Maximals like the animal-like ones?
Yes, they are. So the Beast Wars in the late 90s was the Predacons, which tended to be like dinosaurs and insects, versus the Maximals, which were based on mammals. So the 4 Maximals in the movie are Optimus Primal, Airazor, Rhinox, and Cheetor. Some of my personal favorites. All great choices. And yeah, Yield, I would say that it's definitely worth seeing in theaters. Like I said, my only gripe was they should have put more time into the movie, or like the movie should have been a little bit longer, just to kind of, get us from one place to another, and, again, add more time to the Maximals, because I do agree that the Maximals need a little bit more time, especially since it's their first time in live action. But as far as like the Maximals, they show off their strength and their power. They look great as far as the CGI goes. And, I have really, aside from more screen time, I don't really have any complaints about how they portrayed the Maximals in this movie, because I thought Stephen Cable Jr. did a really good job. But as far, outside my complaints, great action, some of the best action in a Transformers movie, really what am I trying to say? Very formidable villains. Unicron is portrayed, in a very good way. Obviously, like, you had Galactus in the Silver Surfer movie for Fantastic Four, and he was just like a big cloud. That's not the case with Unicron. The way they portray him is actually pretty cool, and like you can get behind it. Good action. The humans, you actually like feel for them and like them, as opposed to groaning anytime they're on screen. I do think a lot of people who want Transformers movies want even less humans and just Transformers, but until they go back to Cybertron, you're not going to get that. On Earth, there's always going to be human involvement. And for what they presented in this movie, I thought they did a good job. Fantastic soundtrack. Yeah, I mean, villains, heroes, I approve of all of them. Great action, just great soundtrack. Like I said,
any Linkin Park?
No, there's no Linkin Park. It's mostly it's the 90s, so it's mostly hip hop. One of the other complaints I saw is that people said that it's a little bit too Transformers formulaic. The Transformers, like the Autobots, have to go find something to help them, defeat the villain, or the villain's after this one particular item, and then like the cube in the first movie, and it's like, okay, well, you we got to go get this and destroy it, or we got to go get this to stop them from getting it. It's just, and the complaints about it being formulaic, if you're looking for like a Transformers movie and you just want big robots fighting each other, you'll get that in this. I was fine with the story. I thought it was good. And I think it being formulaic isn't a negative against it, because it's just the way Transformers movies are. I don't know how you want them to do it differently, but everything I think is in this movie is done with respect to this franchise, and it seems like a lot of people are placing this on the better end of the Transformers movies, not necessarily as good as Bumblebee, but personally I like it better than Bumblebee, even if Bumblebee is a better movie, because there are so many more bots in this movie to like. Like, more of my favorites and more of the fan favorites are in this movie, whereas Bumblebee is just, Shatter and Dropkick as the villains, and then you got Bumblebee on Earth, and just without the backing of the other Autobots, it's just, to me, not as enticing of a movie, even if it is a better quality. But my recommendation is, Rise of the Beast is really good. It may be my favorite Transformers movie. A director's cut, like I said, would be great for this film, but I still recommend everybody go and see it, because if you're a Transformers fan, I think you'll really like it, and it's one of the things that kind of separates it from the Bayverse movies is that you can actually tell what's happening in the fight scenes. Like, it's very clear who's doing what, and you don't get mixed up in that. Like, the first Transformers movie, 2007, where Optimus was fighting Bone Crusher on the highway, and at points it got really kind of muddled as to who was punching and who had who. Like, you don't have that problem in this movie. So, but I think you all should definitely go see it, Yield, because I think that you all would enjoy it.
Cool, awesome. I had kind of heard some mixed things, articles and stuff that were kind of like, yeah, this one is subpar and yada yada. So I just wanted to get somebody who had seen it rather than just random internet stuff.
Yeah, I mean, even the first movie, which people generally agree is a good movie, and I say first movie, but again, 2007 Bay movie, that got like 57 on Rotten Tomatoes. I think this one's sitting at 53. I mean, these movies are not going to review well because the critics who review movies, I guess for a movie like this, you kind of have to understand what the Transformers movies are going to be, and there are so many improvements made over the Bayverse movies that I don't know. I just sat there and enjoyed the movie the entire way. It was like it basically what I expected, and what I went in looking for in a Transformers movie was there. So, and generally most people
awesome.
are just like, I mean, Yield, I would ask, what do you want out of a Transformers movie?
So what I liked about the first movie was I got to see my live action, Optimus and stuff like that. My biggest gripe about it was more about the humans and less about the Transformers, where I'm here to see the Transformers. I could care less about the human aspect. To me the humans are a sidekick in this story, not the main story. And that's how I felt the first movie portrayed it.
So you think that, it should have been one of the Transformers that was the main character and not Sam Witwicky? Because,
yes.
It was practically his story with them. And you want it to be more like the cartoon.
Yes.
Okay.
So the thing about this movie is this is 94, so Optimus hasn't yet taken to the humans. So when he first meets Noah, he's very unsure of the humans. He's not happy that a human is involved. He's not happy that Mirage has attached himself to a human being. And the entire thing is kind of Anthony Ramos and his story, and how he and Optimus are kind of at odds, where Optimus doesn't really like or trust humans, but by the end of the movie it shows his arc of, with the help of Optimus Primal and Noah, that he becomes to see the value of humans and Earth. Because at some point throughout, most of the movie, Noah and Optimus Prime are at odds. They have very different objectives, but by the end of the movie, it's like, the tagline, "As all are one." And you just see that the shift in Optimus's tone to where he's very much against humanity, but by the end, like, everyone's a team. So, like, to the point where, and they've shown this in press screenings and stuff like that, it's in TV spots, Noah dons an exoskeleton suit to where he is helping the Transformers fight at the end of the movie in the final battle. So the humans do more than they have done in the past. But really what the story is, it's not just the human story, it's the human story and the Optimus story, and how they are at first in contradiction, and then by the end, how they have both come together to seeing the other side. So it's kind of the both of them and their story and their arc. So,
they couldn't
if that makes
have done
sense.
that in the first one. Like, give Sam Witwicky like an exoskeleton. I mean, that would have been epic. Seeing Shia LaBeouf in like an Iron Man suit.
And it definitely, well, I mean, it comes because Anthony Ramos' character is a former military veteran. It makes more sense for him than a high school kid. But the way also they handle the exoskeleton too, because if you remember from the G1 movie, the first movie, they do actually have a human character in an exoskeleton suit or in a robot suit that they can use to, help out. So what is done in this movie makes sense, and it's also true to, the source material. Right. Also, there is a big reveal at the end of the movie, which I'm very interested to hear either one of you, JT, if you go see this, I want to hear what you have to say, but Yield, there's a reveal where they swerve you. You think it's going to be one thing, and then it's another thing. So I would be interested to see how you feel about that, the very end, the right before the credits scene. So I'll just say
the swerve. Okay.
I'll probably rent it on like some service like Amazon or something. I'm not going to go to the movies.
But yeah, as a Transformers fan, as a Beast Wars fan, I wish they would have had more for the Maximals to do. But as they were as their first introduction into the live action, movie scene, I was happy. I was happy with the Autobots, and just in general, I was happy with the way Stephen Caple Jr. directed the movie. We always say not perfect by any means, but I would still say to me like a very good Transformers movie. Like I would say, if it's out of 10, because we love scores and we love numbers, I would say a solid 8 out of 10.
Awesome.
Yep. So yeah, watching Transformers really was more than I've done playing video games this week. I said Rocket League, but my main objective this week has been going back to Tales of Iron and beating the game on Bloody Whiskers mode. I haven't done that, but I've made some serious progress. So until I get that done, I'm not going to move on to another game. A couple of games I did download this week from the PlayStation Plus Extra service. I did download Raiden 5 because it does have an ultra rare platinum, so I might try to get that. For those of you, it's a shoot 'em up Raiden.
It's a shmup.
Yeah. Yep. There you go.
No, I know. The Raiden for the PS3 is one of the hardest platinums in existence.
This one, Raiden 5 Director's Cut on the PS5, is a 5 out of 10. So
yeah, no, that one, the one that I'm talking about is like one of those those sought after like Super Meat Boy PS3 platinums back before Super Meat Boy existed. It was like the proof of the pudding that you were like the be all end all. This was like harder than Vanquish, because Vanquish is beta.
Vanquish was very hard, and I actually will say that Anthony Ramos in the movie, like, it gives me Vanquish vibes when he's in.
That's cool.
He's helping the Autobots fight. So.
Mm-hmm. I think like Vanquish is like the entry level to the extremely hard ultra rares. Like if you can get Vanquish, then it's time for you to start practicing for the big boy stuff. Or
it's time for you to enjoy that platinum trophy and then just maybe take a vacation from the super hard ultra tiers, because you really, to go after those games, you really have to love those games. Let's be real. It's not just, I can do any old game. It's like you have to love and enjoy that game.
No, for sure. I would never seek to do Vanquish because I don't really like those type of games. But you better believe that I would seek to do Star Ocean Last Hope if I ever decide to bust it out in my backlog and then do that, because it's one of the sought after JRPGs that are ultra rare.
Yep, so Raiden 5 Director's Cut's on my PlayStation right now, and also The Medium, which is a favorite of our friend Levi. That nothing really particularly rare about that game. I just, it's on there for free on the service, or at least with a subscription. And Levi's talked about it so much that it's, another platinum that I can add to my collection. A good game, not particularly rare, but still a good game that seems to be worth playing. So I definitely want to check that out.
I played that when it was on Game Pass. And I got all the gamer score for it. It's a very simple but great game. I highly recommend it.
Hey, I'm halfway there, JT. It's on my console, so all that takes to do is just press play.
Yeah, it's a very good. There's a few jump scares. It's not so much scary as more of like it builds up anticipation, and then like you're just constantly on your like you're constantly waiting for it. And I guess that's the thing about it, is that you're waiting for it. It never happens, but it keeps on putting you on your toe, like keeping you on your toes.
Well, to be fair, JT, horror games don't really faze me much because I got the Dead Space Platinum, so, you know. And I did finish playing Resident Evil 4, so.
Okay. No, it has a good story anyways. Definitely leads into there maybe being a second one, but like, I don't know. I recommend it.
That's Bloober Team, right?
Yeah, they did a good job with it.
They
one
are
of the better 7s I've ever played.
Well, they're doing. You mean like score wise, like 7 out of 10?
Yeah, because like I have like a tier for like 7s because in like Metacritic, because they're vastly different, and most of the time I think that either that this shouldn't be a 7, this should be way higher, or this shouldn't be a 7, this should be like a 2.5. So like most of the time when I play a 7, I just like I don't think it does. I think it's either. I think that they just put it there because it's just like the gray medium. It's like what people are gonna play it if it's a 7, regardless. It's like when I played Jedi Fallen Order, I was like, "This is a 75. This isn't a 75. This is an 85. What are they doing?"
Yeah, I mean, honestly, to me, I think Jedi Fallen Order had overall a good game. I just definitely think that it had issues. You know, like the whole
sure.
not having any fast travel, and in general, a lot of times not really feeling like I was playing a Star Wars game. You know, sure you had a lightsaber, but through a large chunk of that game, I just felt like I was dungeon crawling, and not actually within the Star Wars universe.
It's a 3D Metroidvania, so you're gonna go into dungeons.
Which, well, here's the thing though, like we've talked about this on the show recently, and I think it was Riley last week who talked about it. I don't think with a game the scale of that, like that size, it doesn't need to be Metroidvania. Like it shouldn't be. I'm not saying those games shouldn't exist, but a game so huge doesn't need to be Metroidvania, especially not without fast travel.
Yeah, but that was the genre. Like that's what it was. It was a 3D Metroidvania.
Well, I mean, first and foremost, it was a 3D action game. But yeah, I get that there was elements, obviously, on each planet of Metroidvania because you had to go back later after you'd gotten certain powers or whatever.
Yeah, and the map had the double jump, because every Metroidvania has a double jump, and the fact that you go down, up, left, right.
I don't know, man. I feel like double jump is one of those things you should have from the beginning. Like,
you say
why?
That, but you'd be shocked.
Well, no, I wouldn't be shocked to know that that a lot of games don't start you out with that way. But it's such a simple thing these days that double jumping should be part of the tutorial.
Can I tell you something? There are games that don't have jumping at all.
Well, yes, I understand that. But in a game where there is double jump available later on, I should have that. You want to keep some force powers or something hidden away until later. I get that. So I'm not super powerful from the start, because the game will scale later on with more difficult enemies.
Early on.
Early on, I want it from the cut. I want it straight up. I don't think that's too much to ask for. I don't think it is.
No, it isn't. You get everything immediately in Jedi Survivor, which is nice.
Well, you're not really going to have to worry about double jump in our first news story, because we're talking Spider-Man 2. And one of the games revealed gameplay shown off at Sony's showcase, a week or two ago. And we've got more news on it, including a release date. This comes from IGN.com, is written by Wesley Yin-Poole. Also, Insomniac Games posted this on their Twitter account. Headline reads, Spider-Man 2 PS5 date revealed during Summer Game Fest. Spider-Man 2 launches October 20th on the PS5, Insomniac announced during the Summer Game Fest, confirming what we pretty much always knew, is that Spider-Man 2 is their holiday game. Quote, one of the game's big mysteries is the identity of Venom. Insomniac wouldn't say who is behind the famous anti-hero, but did rule out Eddie Brock. In Spider-Man 2, you play as both Peter Parker and Miles Morales. You control both Spider-Men at different points of the campaign, but in the open world, you can switch nearly instantly between them as you explore Manhattan, Queens, and Brooklyn. Both Spider-Men have stories and missions in the world exclusive to each of them, Insomniac said. Confirmed villains include the aforementioned Venom, Lizard, and Kraven. Each of the characters' arm represents their new abilities. Peter with a symbiote, Miles with his evolved bioelectric Venom powers. If you pre-order any version, you get an early unlock of the Arachnite suit for Peter with 3 additional color variants, an early unlock Shadow Spider suit for Miles with 3 additional color variants, an early unlock Web Grabber gadget, and 3 skill points. The Digital Deluxe Edition includes the game, all pre-order incentives, and 10 unique suits, 5 for Peter, 5 for Miles, additional photo frames and stickers, and 2 additional skill points. These 10 suits were designed by guest artists including Chris Anka, Julia Blattman, Sweeney Boo, Anthony Francisco, Raf Grassetti, Jared Mance, Joel Mandish, Darren Quach, and Victoria Yang. And finally, the collector's edition includes a voucher for the Digital Deluxe Edition, a steelbook case, and a 19-inch statue featuring Spider-Man battling Venom. I will say, I don't know if you guys have seen a picture of this statue, but the Spider-Man fighting Venom is massive in this statue, so I don't know if that's to scale or not, but if that's Venom in the game, then my god, Venom's going to be much bigger than the Spider-Man. He's like rhino-sized, but...
It looks cool. I do like the statue.
Looks badass to me.
But they're doing the whole thing again of they're going to give you a steel bookcase, but a digital voucher for the game.
So you're not going to get your disc in there?
No, you're not going to get a disc in there.
Oh, this is going to look so good on the PC when it comes out in a year after.
Yeah, while you're getting some of your... Well, I'm sure you have a lengthy backlog on the PC as well, so I'm sure you have plenty to play until that time, JT.
Oh well, I'm basically playing the backlog game now. I'm not going to be completely off the PlayStation because I have a backlog there. I have a backlog on my Xbox, so I'm not giving up on the stuff. I just want to play a PC game.
Fair enough, and you know, are you all going to play Spider-Man? Well, JT, I assume that you're planning to play it when it comes to PC when you have the available time. Yield any kind of... I don't think I should ask if you're going to buy the collector's edition, but just play the game. Is it anything that you're interested in?
I'll play the game. I just don't know when I'm going to pick it up.
Did you play the first one?
Not yet. No, I have it. It's in my backlog.
Oh man, should definitely pick that up. That's a great game.
Well, it sounds like he's already got it there.
No, I got it.
Okay, that should be your next game. Like, don't do anything else. Play that game.
Yeah, I mean, I played Miles Morales, but
play the PS4 version because the PS5 version doesn't count. It doesn't have any points for the.
That's what I have is the 4 version.
Okay, then you should be fine. DLC is worth a hefty amount of points.
And did you play Miles Morales there?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's a great little experience that they gave out for the PS5. Yeah,
I mean, I liked it, but at the same time, just like some of and I played it twice, obviously for the trophies, but for the Platinum Trophy. But I feel like that was enough of a bite of Spider-Man to kind of satisfy me, because it did start to get old after like going through the second playthrough. It's like, okay, I've done all this before. And, you know, obviously that would be different when I'm playing through, you know, a longer game with new things introduced as the game goes. But just as fun as web slinging was, it did get a little old after a while. So I don't know if I would...
I mean, it kind of just gave us a tease of what Miles is going to do in the Spider-Man 2, because to be honest, I can't wait to use all those electric attacks in Spider-Man 2. That's going to be badass.
And we should mention that they've come out with the cover art for Spider-Man 2, and it unsurprisingly includes both, very prominently Peter Parker and Miles Morales in their spider suits. So
I want to know, they're gonna introduce Gwen. They're gonna introduce the white Spidey mistress,
Spider-Gwen.
Yeah, I want.
Is that what you're looking for?
I want that for Spider-Man 3. I want that.
Oh, you say save that for the next Spider-Man game?
Yeah, that would be epic. I like her because it kind of gave like this really interesting spin on it.
So really, that's all the topics we have because, well, not all the topics, but we're going to jump into our discussion now of all the stuff from the Summer Games Fest, which was a big blockbuster event that showed off at least 30 games. I know JT probably disagrees with this, but I think there was a lot at Summer Game Fest that for
No,
many people
I
to
looked at
enjoy.
the article. There's a few.
All right, so like I said, there's a certain few things. Not more than a few, but there's definitely things that I went back and watched that I want to hit before we go off the air here today. But if there's anything in particular that I don't hit, JT, and you want to talk about it, please bring it up, sir.
Okay.
And that goes for you too, as well, Yield.
Copy.
All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's coming in early 2024. We got a trailer for that at the Summer Games Fest. And all this was compiled by IGN. It was written by Logan Plant. We had our first real look at the second part in Square Enix's Final Fantasy VII Remake Trilogy, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We saw Cloud, Aerith, and the rest of the party riding through the expansive fields of the world outside of Midgar. We saw the party riding chocobos, exploring towns, and discussing Sephiroth's inevitable return. Plus, Red 13 is joining the party this time as a playable fighter. That is the dog, correct?
Yeah, the red, the orange-looking dog with like the mohawk.
The mohawk, yeah.
Yeah.
The game is coming to PlayStation 5 early next year. I'm assuming that's another timed exclusive for PlayStation.
Yes, and this is one of the games that I was talking about that I actually found interesting because, again, I'm an RPG fanatic.
And JT,
it'll come out for PS5, then it'll go on to Epic because of that stupid Epic agreement thing. Nobody's going to buy it on Epic. It's going to go on to Steam and it's going to sell millions. Because Epic Game Store is not where the target demographic for these games are.
JT, anything in particular you want to talk about the trailer or the game in general?
Yeah, I think it's pretty, obviously. And when I heard Tifa talking about how does Cloud know about the event of his own hometown burning to a crisp when he wasn't even there, very intriguing because he was there. He was in he had like a helmet on and whatnot because he was a trainee as a soldier. And I found that interesting because she's starting to question, was he there? I never noticed. Blah. That's when Sephiroth became a psychopath and murdered everyone.
Well, to be fair, I think that he was always a psychopath. It just took something to bring it out of him.
No, he wasn't. You need to play Crisis Core, my friend.
I think in general you mean I need to play a Final Fantasy game, because that's something I've never done.
Yeah, because you can't really make that claim unless you play Crisis Core. He was a good guy. He was a hero. And then he looked into his creation and said, "This is my world, and I'm going to save it from these scummy humans. And if I have to destroy it to save it, then I will do so."
Well, I guess a lot of people have to die in order for Sephiroth to be happy or content with his creation.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sounds like a psychopath to me.
He wasn't always like that, is my point.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you're right. He is a psychopath, but in the beginning of Crisis Core, he was not a psychopath. He was a genuine hero that people could look up to.
You live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened.
Just kind of like Krauser in Resident Evil 4. Used to be a good guy, didn't turn out that way in the end.
Yeah, pretty much.
We have a new Prince of Persia game coming from Ubisoft. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is coming next year. Quote, Summer Games Fest kicked off with a surprise. A brand new Prince of Persia game is coming out early next year. Prince of Persia: Lost Crown is coming to PlayStation 5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC on January 18th, 2024. The game is a brand new side-scrolling action platformer with a vibrant art style. So, watch this trailer, and I definitely agree that the art style is very... I actually prefer it to a more realistic art style, but I like the way the game looks. And, it showed off fighting. It's obviously platforming focused, hack and slash combat focused, very, very fast action going on. Showed off like you fighting a chimera enemy. There's also, I think, like I saw like a giant snake. So like you're fighting these very large enemies in the side scrolling action game. And it looked pretty damn good. I actually might be interested in it. What do you guys think? Did you all watch this trailer?
Yes. I thought it was interesting, but again, I'm not really... I played the Prince of Persia games on the OG Xbox. I think it was OG Xbox. Could have been the PlayStation 2. I don't really remember, but I remember liking them, but I'm not really the biggest platformer fan anymore, so like I'm not sure this is for me.
That's fair. I think that, and they showed off a lot of flashy moves, especially with the bow and arrow, and then how the enunciated the power and the strength of the bows are. And
but I'll agree with you. I do dig this art style a lot.
Yeah, and I do like how there's like a lot of color and light and vibrancy around the bow, just kind of powering it up and shooting it. I mean, like a lot of the offensive moves looked really cool, and they added a lot of flair to them. So, Yield, any thoughts on the new Prince of Persia game?
I have not seen the trailer, but the idea of a new Prince of Persia game, I've always kind of liked them. So,
and taking it side scrolling,
it's nice to see him come back.
Well, taking it side scrolling is a bit of a different look for Prince of Persia than what we're used to, because it was more of 3D back on the PS2, correct?
Believe so. Yeah, it was kind of remastered or not remastered, but it was
ported to the PS3,
ported to the 3
and the 360.
Well, the 2D side-scrolling fun doesn't stop here, because we got Mortal Kombat 1. We get a bone-crushing gameplay trailer for Mortal Kombat 1. Mortal Kombat is out later this year, and we got a new gameplay look for the next entry in the long-running series. We saw the new assist mechanic in action, where fighters can call in help from other Mortal Kombat characters in the middle of battle. And we saw a couple of fatalities, including a close-up shot of someone's ribcage and someone getting their heart ripped out in their chest. So yeah, it's Mortal Kombat. Honestly, I don't think the gameplay is going to do anything to convert new folks to play Mortal Kombat. Like, if you haven't played Mortal Kombat in a while, I think that maybe the roster of characters, depending on how big it is and who's included, that might bring people back. Like me, I used to play Mortal Kombat, and really the roster is kind of is what I'm looking to see how they fill that out. But I mean, they've gotten about as close as they can make a fighting game to being like visceral, to where like someone takes a punch to the gut and you feel it while you're playing it. Like you just kind of like hunch over, you're like, oh God. They do the x-ray shots where like bones are literally crunching to these punches and everything's brutal and you almost can feel every hit. So the action's just kind of really hot and heavy. As they said, they added like an assist mechanic, which to me like makes you think of Tekken Tag Tournament or like Marvel vs. Capcom, where you have like tag team battles where you call people in to help you fight. I'm not saying it's like tag team battles, but like that's just kind of what I think of when I saw the trailer. And yeah, it looks like they're doing the thing where they have like the story segments, like the cinematics, and then that immediately folds into like a one-on-one battle. So they transition from the kind of the story segments to the battles really, really well. So any Mortal Kombat fans in between among the rest of you guys?
So I think the game looks smooth. Me personally, I'm more into like the Japanese fighters, like Street Fighter, King of Fighters, and what else is there? Streets of Rage, and well, not Streets of Rage. What am I thinking? That's not a fighter. That's like
That's a beat 'em up.
BlazBlue, Guilty Gear and stuff like that. But this looks really good. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm going through the photos right now. There's some Asian references. I like that a lot.
I mean, it's like, it's kind of nice they're bringing it back to, like, kind of rebooting the series and bringing it back to where it all started. Like I said, I hope the roster is pretty filled out because I don't think they can go back to just the standard characters they had at the beginning. So, but, kind of going back from the beginning, and one of the things they've always said about Mortal Kombat, especially with the newer games, is everything that's old is new again. So the shifting of the focus instead of just making a new game with a bigger roster, like, I think that adding, focusing more on the story and where the series has gone is a good idea because you can't always just do bigger and more and expect it to be better. But yeah, like I said, I think the gameplay is going to be similar to what they've done, so that's not going to earn them converts. But I do think that, Mortal Kombat fans are really going to like this game. And, maybe based on the roster, some people may jump in. Yield, I know you're not really into fighting games, but have you seen anything about Mortal Kombat that impresses you?
No, I haven't even watched any of it.
All right. Well, one of the things I've watched recently, obviously, is Transformers, and Transformers being as popular as it is, will be crossing over into a popular video game IP, Fortnite. Fortnite Wilds reveals Transformers crossover. We got our first look at Fortnite Chapter 4 Season 3, which is called Fortnite Wild. Cinematic trailer showed characters hopping through forest before running to Optimus Prime, revealing the season's Transformers crossover. No shock here, Transformers is huge at the box office, big summer hit, and then you've got something like Fortnite, which does a really good job of capitalizing on that stuff, having Marvel characters in there, having X-Men. Like, I can't even think of all the crossovers they've done, but they've just done a ton of crossovers, and this just seems like with a new movie coming out, this is right up their alley to include it in there. So, they're constantly updated with new content, and adding popular IP has been something they've done really well to keep people interested. And this, to me, this just makes sense. I know that this is our buddy Curtis loves to play Fortnite. I know we don't, I don't think any of us play Fortnite, but I think this is, just another thing that will keep people coming back and playing the game. You guys, any thoughts on Transformers going into good old Fortnite?
I think that it was inevitable. I mean, everything is in Fortnite, so eventually this was going to come to it. Do I care? Hell no, because the game is shit.
Well, I mean, I think that, Fortnite may not be for everybody, but I definitely think that this is something that will keep that audience coming back. It's like I said.
I'm going to tell you my thoughts on Fortnite right now. Are you ready?
I'm not going to stop you, JT, so let her rip.
Fortnite is Epic's cash cow. Epic then uses that cash to hold IPs hostage in their store, in which nobody buys it because the Epic client is insecure and broken.
So you're not an Epic fan?
I'm not a Fortnite fan because of the fact that Epic uses that money to hold games like Kingdom Hearts hostage forever and ever.
So and it's not necessarily you dislike the game, you just dislike that Epic is able to leverage that game to continue their tactics.
Yeah, and the thing is that they're not the companies that make these games are getting a huge boost in money, but it's like a short-term boost. And then most of them are temporarily exclusive, but there are a few that are actually just exclusive and just there, and they're not making any money there anymore. Like if you just move them to Steam, it would make so much more money because that's where most of the PC master race is. They're on Steam. They're not on Epic. So that's my 2 cents on it.
But to give Fortnite credit where it's due, I think that particularly with that game, it's the roadmap for how you keep people invested in a game, be it a battle royale or not. If a game has a battle pass and works on seasons, they have given you the blueprint on how to keep it going for a long, long time, season after season, because
I'm actually really interested in their single-player mode. It's actually really good. I've tried it before.
But that's the thing, is they're constantly upgrading with new content, and that's how you keep people. Is you have with the this rollout of these seasons, these battle passes, you have to have new content, and Fortnite does it better than anybody, which is why it's still so popular.
Oh, for sure. That's the reason why the game isn't dead yet. Because they do what you just said. Yeah, for sure. I just don't like what they're doing with the money.
Oh. I think we can all understand that. Look, I know Yield's not going to play any battle royales anytime soon, but I'll ask you this question, Yield, and maybe you kind of stretch your legs on this one. Would you like to see maybe because obviously Transformers, they are robots that turn into cars. How would you feel about a Transformers crossover in the world of Rocket League?
Oh, that would be cool.
Wait, Yield, why don't you like battle royales? You're such a games of service nerd.
No, I just do Rocket League and World of Warships.
Oh.
But I don't even do World of Warships as much as I do Rocket League.
Okay.
I just mess around with my Bureau project to advance it. That would be cool if they were to put, certain Autobots and Decepticons in there. That'd be a neat skin to have.
Well, guess what? That's Epic too. So maybe you should write to Epic. They're both epic.
In that regard, I don't know if there's anything that Yield or you could tell them, that's not already on their radar. Because honestly, I'm surprised that they haven't had that. I mean, having like Optimus Prime's truck, I mean, I don't know if with the physics and the hit detection and all that kind of stuff, how that would play with the soccer ball hitting mechanics of it. But I mean, Bumblebee, Mirage, like surely those would fit well into the game and they could sell them to us instead of having to. Because recently they've had like the Jurassic Park stuff back, trying to sell us the Jurassic Park Jeep, which has been sold numerous times before. So instead of like recycling content again, maybe it's time to, partner with something like Transformers, where you could get a good number of the Transformers Autobots in there and people would probably pay it.
Yeah.
I concur.
Yeah. I think that the Transformers stuff for Rocket League would actually be pretty decent, though. That's a good idea.
Yeah, and you might think, depending on your view of Sonic, that you might say, well, this looks pretty decent. Sonic, very polarizing. Some people don't get it. Other people still love it. Sonic Superstars is a new TD Classic Sonic game coming this year. Sega revealed Sonic Superstars, a brand new side-scrolling Sonic game with 4-player co-op. Players can choose between Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy Rose and play with up to 4 players at the same time. The game is a side-scroller, but it takes a 3D art style similar to the classic Sonic's appearances in Sonic Generations and Sonic Forces. The game is out on all platforms this fall, because Sega's going to try to get their games out every single place, every single where, until Nintendo buys them, if that ever happens. But, I mean... Well, maybe not, but it would make sense.
Microsoft's too in bed with them.
With Sega?
Yeah.
In what regards?
Oh, they've been playing the goody good two shoes. Like,
Yeah, but who's been tied to Sega more than Nintendo since Sega stopped making consoles?
Well, it's really been PlayStation that's been tied to them most.
You think so? I mean, you look at like Bayonetta. Like,
okay, but that's also that's not Sega. That's Platinum Games.
Well, Sega, didn't they publish the first game?
Oh, they might have, but I don't think that. But that's not exclusive. The first game isn't exclusive. The others are, and I don't know. I don't think they're published by Sega.
Well, also Sega did a lot of they published Vanquish. They've done a lot of publishing for Platinum Games.
Well, yeah, they came out with the recent collection, but that came out a few years ago. But those aren't placed; they're not Nintendo exclusive.
Well, Bayonetta essentially is an exclusive now.
Not Bayonetta 1.
No, but Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta 3.
That's the one that was Sega. I don't think the others are.
Okay, well, you look at how much involvement Sonic has with all the Mario stuff.
Yeah, but Sonic kind of is not doing particularly well in sales and whatnot. So
that's not obviously not going to stop Sega. No matter how like,
but like
much
all the other places, like the Yakuza series, like most of their franchises, I'd say they're more in bed with PlayStation than they've ever been with. Yeah.
All right. I'll take your point, sir. But
Well,
let me ask you, JT, about this new Sonic game. Are you because there's only two sides of the debate. It's not like, people are lukewarm on Sonic. People are either like Sonic needs to go away or my God, I still love Sonic. Which side of the debate are you on there?
I'm kind of in the middle. I do enjoy a Sonic game here and there. I actually just in the beginning of the year I platinumed Sonic Team Racing. That was actually a pretty decent game.
But to be fair, that's not your typical like Sonic game.
Yeah, but
it's a mascot kart racer. It's just like
100% the year before that. I 100% of a few Xbox One Sonic games that were leaving the store. So I mean, they were like the old 2D Sonic games. The most recent Sonic game I played was the new kind of open one. I forgot what was Sonic Frontiers. I actually enjoyed that one. So
you may actually take a run at this one.
No, this is a 2D platformer one. I think that Sonic should not go back to its roots. I think it needs to evolve, and I think that they need to figure out what that stage is of evolution, because they kind of go everywhere. Like Sonic goes everywhere, and it has mixed results every time. There's no clear-cut evolution. It's not like Mario, because Mario's actually really good at the evolution game.
Well, but
and keeping it in a similar light as well, but Sonic not so much.
Well, the problem with Sonic is the best games in the Sonic series are 2D, and the ones that generally go 3D have been terrible.
Sonic Unleashed was really good.
Well, I mean, you had like Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast, but their best games, the best Sonic games are generally in the 2D format. They've, like you said, they've struggled to find a way to bring him into 3D because he has relationships with human women and stuff like that in some of the games. Like, and then you have the Werehog.
Sonic 06.
Yeah, you have the Sonic Werehog thing where he turns.
Yeah, that was Sonic Unleashed. That one was actually really good. I think it was also pretty critically good. It was actually good.
I'll have to double check you on that because I'm not sure. I trust you on that one, JT. I trust you on a lot, but that one I'm not sure. But it just seems like there's a lot of negativity surrounding Sonic 3D. And there's a reason, therefore, that they have to keep going back to the 2D era stuff. Because that's really what, All
right, so it says here that, critically it got a 60, Sonic Unleashed. But the user score is off the charts. It's an 8.5.
Oh, so, I mean, there are times, yes, when you'll see user scores that are better than the critical score. The new Transformers movie, I think, got a 53 on Rotten Tomatoes, but the user score is 90. So, yeah, you do have those instances where people will, fans will enjoy it far more than critics. But I think that, part of the reason you keep seeing the 2D Sonic still alive and, them trying to continue to innovate there is because they haven't found a good way to go into 3D yet.
Then maybe I'm just of the opinion that the franchise needs to die.
Well, it seems like you still enjoy some Sonic. So, I mean, Sonic being Sega's biggest mascot still, I don't think we'll ever see that. But it's one of those game franchises that whenever because I'm so tired and over Sonic, and like, I don't have a problem with Sonic existing, whenever I hear, it's like one of those games you hear Sonic and I've immediately written it off. I don't care. I don't want to hear about it. I'm just like, grown, whatever. If somebody wants to play it, that's fine. If there's still an audience for Sonic, which Sega keeps making the games, but I just tune it out anytime I hear Sonic. What are your feelings on Sonic? Do you give the games a chance?
I am not playing this game. Let's just say that.
I haven't messed with Sonic since Sega. I mean,
Sega!
I know there's a love for him. So I'm glad, I'm glad in the sense that they're still keeping him alive for those people, but it's not on my radar.
JT, did you want to interject there with something?
No, Tricky just came in and ganked with a Sega! I'm not sure if you
I did that live
he's
on air,
in
and
the
Tricky's just
call.
trying to copy me because I'm cool and Tricky's not. I told Tricky not to jump into the chat because it's distracting, which is exactly what just happened.
Well, you knew he wouldn't be able to stay away.
Well, I've got some Tricky repellent here because we're talking Alan Wake 2. We got a gameplay reveal of Alan Wake 2 at Summer Games Fest, and also a release date. Alan Wake 2 is coming out on October 17th, and we got our best look at the game so far at Summer Games Fest. This game has two playable characters, Alan Wake and Saga Anderson, with a 50-50 split between the two of them. Saga is an FBI agent in the Pacific Northwest, while Alan Wake is trying to escape from the nightmare dimension. I had trouble remembering the name of the town in Alan Wake. Bright Falls. It was Bright Falls. And, but yeah, I played the first game. I really enjoyed the first game. Obviously, I played, it on Steam years back, but also I bought the remastered version a couple years ago and played that. So this is our first gameplay reveal. I think actually we might have learned about the release date from the Sony showcase, but we got a few minutes of gameplay, really just kind of one enemy encounter in that with Saga Anderson. So the FBI agent, she is, they've got all the different tactics to set the mood. It's, the Pacific Northwest, so it's rainy in the trailer, it's dark, so all you have is your flashlight to kind of see by, and you come across like this building where this cultist busts through the wall, the wood just shatters, and it's this large person, and they've got like a deer head on, and they're carrying an axe, and you can see like the darkness, the darkness that you use the flashlight to break up and making them vulnerable. You can see the darkness kind of swirling around them. And it's really just that encounter with that one cultist, and it kind of, shuts, goes off a little after that. But, thus far, the action looks good, and the enemy actually looks kind of terrifying. Definitely, I think, more than, scarier than the original Alan Wake, enemies, which are just kind of like ghostly apparition-looking forms. So I think that they're potentially going to take the horror to the next level in this game. The mood, the setting seems about right. So, just judging by the bite-sized bit of gameplay we got, I'm very excited for Alan Wake 2. So, JT?
I played the first one on the 360. I really liked it. Gonna say it didn't age well, though, but I really did like what I played.
Well, the gameplay definitely feels clunky, and especially playing it, it being a remaster and not a remake, where they didn't build it from the ground up. There's only so much you can do, but I definitely agree that game felt clunky in the gameplay, the movement, because it actually maybe hurt it a little bit, because people who had an affinity for the game and played it before were able to look past it, whereas people who were playing it brand new, like a lot of the PlayStation owners, may have looked at it and said, man, this game it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, the controls are a bit dated, but Alan Wake 2, I am stoked for it. This is like one of those non-RPG games that I actually can't wait for.
Third-person shooter, and Yield, did you watch the trailer for this?
No, I have not. I haven't even played the first one.
Well, maybe look at the trailer and give it a go, because, I guess maybe playing the first game would help, but just knowing kind of where Alan Wake ended up and where they kind of are picking up.
In the bottom of the ocean in his dream.
Yeah, I'd maybe don't write off the sequel, Yield. Maybe, look at the trailer and see if you'll give it a shot, because I definitely think that what JT said, the gameplay for the first one might be a little dated, but you might just honestly understanding kind of where the game ends up and then where the first game starts, kind of like right after that, you probably can get away with skipping the first game. Although I think this game might be a little bit more up your alley, kind of from the universe of Yakuza. Like a Dragon Gaiden is coming this November. Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, officially has a release date of November 9th. The game is a spin-off of the long-running Like a Dragon, formerly Yakuza, series. It marks the return of protagonist Kazuma Kiryu. Yield, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have played a Yakuza game in the past.
No, that's my brother.
Those Huddleston's always switching place on me.
And let me guess, you didn't watch the trailer.
Well, I haven't seen any of these trailers.
I was going to ask, did you watch any of them? Any of these trailers?
No, because I didn't know there was any more stuff coming out.
JT, this is your flavor of game. You like it?
Can't wait. Yakuza Like a Dragon was so good. It's great. Oh, this is going to be so great.
And to be fair, the Yakuza games are on PlayStation Plus. They're on. I think you have to have premium to play them because I think they're in the Classics catalog. But there are quite a few.
Yeah, they're also on Game Pass. I think for anybody who would want to play them there. I think they're on Game Pass. They may have removed them by now. I don't know. It's definitely been more than a year, but they're there. I think if you have that as well. So,
JT, anything in particular you like about Yakuza and Like a Dragon that makes you so excited for this?
Well, Like a Dragon is turn-based, where the older Yakuzas were action. They said that anything that is Yakuza / Like a Dragon for now on will be turn-based, which I think is awesome. And everything from the Judgment series, which is another series within the Yakuza storyline, like the Yakuza world, will be action. So if you want your old Yakuza stuff, you got the Judgment series for that. And it's going to be in the same world. So
do you play this day one?
No, I have too much to play. I'm not. I don't know if I'm going to buy any of these games day one because really want to get what I have done. Like at least make a dent into it. You know, I'm not. I have too much.
Well, then it might be asking too much if you're going to play Star Trek Infinite. That got announced at Summer Games Fest. We got a teaser trailer for Star Trek Infinite, a brand new strategy, or it says a grand new. Well, I guess that's exactly what they meant. A new grand strategy game coming from Paradox. Sorry, I lost my ability to read there. The game is in development at a Quantum League maker Nimble Giant Entertainment. Little was shown of the trailer beyond Federation fleet approaching the Borg, along with images of iconic Star Trek characters. A full reveal is coming on June 16th. It also seemed like they had sectioned off via different quadrants, using colors, sectioned up part of the universe. So, I mean, I guess that goes into the whole strategy aspect where you're going to be taking control of different areas of the universe or the galaxy or whatever. But I know.
To me, this looks like a Civilization type style game, and I'm for it. I actually enjoy turn-based strategy and real-time strategy. It's a hidden passion of mine. I used to play Warcraft 2 and 3 on my cousin's old IBM laptop back in the day, and I was like, yeah, this is sick. StarCraft, all that, Command Conquers. Before I developed a taste for role-playing games, that was my thing.
But JT, are you a Star Trek fan, or are you just because of the genre?
Yeah, actually, I do enjoy a bit of it. I wouldn't say that I'm a huge fan. I think I do prefer Star Wars over Star Trek. So I'm not exactly a Trekkie, but I have watched series of Star Trek.
I think that's a big question. I mean, I think people feel like they can only like either one or the other. You know, either you're a Trekkie or you're a Star Wars fan. But
I enjoy both, but I enjoy Star Wars a little more.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally cool to like both. Yield obviously is probably one of the biggest Star Wars fans I know. And
oh, by the way, what do you guys think of? I'm sorry. They sold Star Wars back to Lucas.
Officially? Because I kind of heard that was a rumor.
Oh, I thought it was officially. Well, it might be a rumor. I'm sorry. I hope it's true then. I'm sorry.
Yield. I'm sure that Yield would be happy with that.
Disney be ruining it.
I'm gonna look it up, but Yield, your thoughts on the potential of Disney selling Lucasfilm back to?
Well, I mean, I'd be okay with it because I mean his storytelling is
better than the person in charge now.
Way better. Yeah. The only good thing that they've done that everybody has liked is Rogue One and Mandalorian, and really you could really argue that Mandalorian is a George Lucas product because Dave Fillion was in essence a protege of George Lucas because he worked very closely with George for the Clone Wars animated series.
And that's why it looks and is so good because...
And that's why some people complain about, oh, this episode sucked. Well, that's because he's setting story up for stuff later, a la what Lucas does in his movie. What you see in a middle part that's kind of a boring part of the movie is stuff he's setting up for later in the movie or the last movie. So... Fillion gets it. I'm not a big fan of Kathleen Kennedy.
Neither am I.
It would not hurt my heart any if Lucas took his property and took it back.
Yeah.
I hate to burst your bubble there, but this definitely is just a rumor. And I've got an article from CNBC here. It says 6 years after buying Lucasfilm, Disney has already recouped its investment. So that was from 2018. So we're 5 years beyond that, and I think after building, Galaxy's Edge, a huge monetary investment and like a big section of their parks at Disney, for them to resell Lucasfilm, I can't see it. So it's at this point, it's not anything official. It's just a rumor. But I'd find them mad or crazy to do that. I did. Yeah.
Well, then they need to kill it because they're definitely just tearing it down bit by bit. Making it a husk of what it was.
You gotta wonder, JT, though, who would buy it from them? Who would buy Lucasfilm?
Well, what I'm saying is that they need to just leave it as it is now and give it a break because.
Oh, come on, JT. If there's two things about Disney, they're all about their Star Wars and they're all about their Marvel.
They're gonna do it until they can't do it, right? Like they're just gonna milk it until it's gone.
Getting back to the original game, Yield, any chance you play a Star Trek game?
Most of the Star Trek games that I've kind of have come out recently look like they've been mainly online. And I don't know. Nothing about them have been like, ooh, that looks incredibly awesome.
Yeah, it's the MMO.
I doubt it.
It's the MMO, Star Trek Online. That's like one of the most recent ones. It's okay.
Well, bringing us back down to Earth is John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. Saber Interactive, Focus Entertainment, and John Carpenter revealed John Carpenter's Toxic Commando, a new first-person shooter that's an ode to the 80s action and horror. The revealed trailer shows well-equipped military vehicles and plenty of guns to take on overwhelming hordes of undead enemies. The game is coming to Xbox Series XS and PS5 and PC next year. And sans the Lancers, I think that this, it's the main characters in this, the people who are fighting the hordes of the undead, they seem very much like gruff Marine types, like you would see of Marcus Phoenix and his friends. Just that kind of person is what they're going for with the protagonist here. And yeah, I mean, honestly, it's undead hordes fighting them off in a first-person shooting game. My first thought when I saw this, when I read this headline, was the Toxic Avenger. But, having seen the gameplay, it's another zombie horde game. I know that Yield loved Days Gone, so maybe this would be more up his alley. But for me, you do anything with the undead, zombies, anything like that, I just don't care. I just write it off. JT, did you watch this trailer for Toxic Commando?
So, I thought that opening was kind of funny when they blasted that song and started singing and just
you mean Bon Jovi? And let me say that before you go any further. Good songs can absolutely enhance your experience, they could make a trailer or whatever or gameplay even better, because the Transformers, the first official trailer they had for Rise of the Beast, had DMX Rough Riders as the background song. And, you wouldn't think that that'd be their go-to for, a Transformers song, but it fit super well with the trailer, and it made me even more hyped for the movie. And the Bon Jovi song they used for this, I actually think it, like, even though I'm not into the zombie hordes anymore, I think it enhanced the trailer and made it better.
Yeah, like, if I was into first-person shooters to begin with, I like a few, not all. I would probably, just off of that song, give this a hard, like, I'm going to buy it, but I'm not into first-person shooters, so. But I thought that trailer was excellent. That was a great song to put in there, man. Like, what a trailer. Too bad it's a first-person shooter.
Yield, are you up for another game where you fight off hordes of zombies? Not third person, third person, but first person.
Yield,
First person?
you need to
probably
watch
not.
This trailer. It is pretty funny.
Yeah, even if you don't play the game, you'd probably get a kick out of the trailer just because the song they use in it and just kind of the action, what's going on. Because Bon Jovi,
and the words they say too, like "sing it with me."
Bon Jovi and zombies are not two things I would ever thought that I would see together in a video game trailer. But it's 2023, and this is the world we live in.
Yeah, no, this is the trailer that you need to watch.
All right, it's loading now.
Oh, he's watching.
Yeah. While Yield does that, and before we get his comments, we're still skirting on the edge of lunacy here with a game called Pal World. Pal World is like Pokemon.
Whoa, you skipped one.
Did I? Oh, okay.
Sandland.
Okay, well here, I'll go back to that one. And
but that's the one I want to talk about.
Okay, well, I promised JT we will talk about Sandland. Right. But I've already gone into this, so we're going to keep going forward. We got Pal World is like Pokemon, but with guns. We got an extended look at Pal World, a game about collecting monster friends and equipping them with guns. The game is coming to early access next January. You only need to watch the trailer for a few seconds to see that it's a very different take on the monster collecting genre. So obviously, Pokemon is the head honcho, or like the biggest piece of the pie when it comes to the monster collecting games. And after watching this trailer, like, yeah, you go around and catch little monsters, and then you're seeing, based on the size of the monster, some of the monsters you're sitting on their shoulder while they're shooting off like Gatling guns. There's also monsters that shoot off rockets, like, so very much different from Pokemon. But at the same time, like, some of these monster like designs are edging very, very close to the Pokemon company and what they do. Like at one point, I swear I saw a statue of Lucario in this game. It looked a lot like the Fighting Fox from Pokemon's 4th generation, but yeah, They're edging very close to Nintendo's properties on this, but I mean, it definitely looks like an interesting, potentially fun game. JT, your thoughts on this trailer?
So, I don't know. I just tried to look. I did watch this trailer, but I never. Where is it coming out? Like, because there were a few mobile games in here that as well, so I'm thinking this might be a mobile game.
I don't know, but the final monster you see in the trailer looks dead up like Latios or Latios. I mean, not exactly, but
this is a mobile game. I'm not going near it with a 10-inch pole.
It says it's going to be on Steam. Platforms Series X, S, and Microsoft Windows. So it doesn't look like it's coming to PlayStation, but it will be on Steam as well as the Xbox consoles.
Yeah, I could do. I think I would enjoy this because like Pokemon is a old school role playing game.
There's even one of those monsters that looks dead up like Leafeon. I don't know how they don't get sued by Nintendo, but it's they're skirting
that line.
To be fair, I think that because Nintendo has Pokemon, Microsoft and Sony definitely need a game like that on their consoles. Sony tried to copy the mascot brawler, the platform brawler, like Nintendo had Super Smash Brothers. They did it with the PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. But Pokemon really is a game that I feel like other companies should tap into, but never really have. And I thought maybe if this game was coming into Sony's consoles, that might be the case, but it looks like it's just Microsoft and PC.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, it looks like PC is one of the better, platforms to play games on because you got access to Game Pass, a lot of the big Microsoft exclusives or all the big Microsoft exclusives, and now, slow drip, but also the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, they're also on Steam.
Yield, did you finish the Commandos trailer?
I did. The song helps sell it. Looks interesting. Something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you ask JT, this may be the game to keep your eye on. It's called Sandland. It's a new action game from Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, and Bandai Namco. We got our first,
and the creator of Sandland.
We got our first look at Sandland, a new Bandai Namco game coming to PlayStation 5, PS4, Xbox Series S and X, and PC. The game features Akira Toriyama's signature art style and is based on a niche Toriyama manga JT, from 2000. The gameplay showed tank and melee combat across the game's wide desert. There's no release date for this game yet. JT, before I let you go, I'll just make my few comments on this. It looks like Dragon Ball had a baby with Borderlands. Now you are free to go, JT.
Okay, so Akira does more than just Dragon Ball. Okay,
well, I just wanted to point out that Akira did create Dragon Ball because it looks so much like a Dragon Ball.
Yeah, no, but he also created the Sandland manga. I get what you're saying, but this was a manga before it was a video game. As for if it's good or not, I'm actually not sure. I haven't really read that manga. I probably should. Now, here's the problem with anime video games. They
always fall short.
They're never really good. So I do not know if I can recommend this. But
I don't know. What I played at Dragon Ball Kakarot wasn't bad.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're not bad, but like even that new One Piece one is pretty good. It's just that it never breaks that mold of like this is a game you have to play. There's not really any anime game like that. So from what you were saying, I actually don't know if I would recommend it. I think you would have to be a weeb to enjoy it. And if you're just someone who likes Batman and Spider-Man and all that other stuff, you're probably not going to like this.
But to be fair, Yield has purchased Dragon Ball Z games before, some of the fighting games, so he obviously, likes Dragon Ball Z to some degree. Yield, do you feel like someone telling you it's Borderlands cross Dragon Ball Z, not officially that, but just gives the feels of that, is that something you would be interested in?
So when I heard you say that, I scrolled back up to watch the trailer, and that's what I'm watching. And yeah, that's the vibe that I'm getting from this trailer.
Yeah. I think if you're into like classic anime as well, you should probably get it as well because
it's definitely a Borderlands vibe from the trailer. And for what little I'm seeing of it, I will keep an eye out for this game.
Yeah, I think since Yield enjoys a good classic anime, I think this will also be good for him. Because this is a classic 2000 anime. This isn't like a recent thing. So this I would recommend it for someone like I Yield. I wouldn't recommend it for someone like Daryl or you, Alex. I would not recommend it for you.
Why you say it like that, JT?
Because I don't ever see you talking about any anime whatsoever.
I mean, you're right, I don't. But I wouldn't necessarily rule out, a video game because of the genre it comes from.
To me, I think you should get to know the source material before you play these games, because a lot of them are disingenuous spoilers. And what I mean by that is they go by the story most of the time, but it's such a shoddy, like, attempt of the story that it makes the game garbage. So I do recommend, if you are going to do this, you should read the manga from 2000.
No, wait, JT, is it manga or manga?
It could be pronounced either way. I know people say manga, I know people say manga.
But we have no definitive answer on that.
I think the Japanese say. I think the niche way of saying it, like the cool way of saying it, is manga.
Yeah, that's why I said it the way I did.
The way to pronounce it is manga.
Well,
I could be wrong on that.
Something very decidedly un-manga, un-Japanese is Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings Return to Moria is coming this fall. Lord of the Rings Return to Moria has release window of fall 2023. The game is described as a survival crafting adventure in the fourth age of Middle-earth, and it bears some resemblance to Deep Rock Galactic. And it seems like this focuses very heavily on the dwarves and their search to or their quest to return to their birthright home, or where, what they have traditionally thought of as their home. Yield, are you ready for another Deep Rock Galactic game? Because,
no.
Well, maybe, hopefully not the length of time that you have to get a platinum trophy, the amount of time you've dumped into Deep Rock Galactic to get a platinum trophy, but this seems, very, digging for resources, but also fighting large enemies, something not quite the same as Deep Rock Galactic, but still also featuring dwarves, so, with just kind of a Lord of the Rings twist to it.
I would have to see some more on it. Or see more on it, because I wasn't even on for Deep Rock until Homer was like, hey, it's a co-op game, let's all play it. And it's like, all right. And then I actually really enjoyed it, so.
Not for me.
Okay.
I do like a good Lord of the Rings game, but not this.
Well, JT, I'll have you know that according to Ashley, it's manga. And she is the mother to a weeb, so obviously she, you're a weeb yourself, but she's been, I'm sure, trained by her youngest son on how to say these things, and, he even got her started on Demon Slayer, so. Oh, Ashley says she studied the blade, so that's how she knows.
So Demon Slayer is a very epic manga. Very good. I'm going to continue saying manga. It's very good. I enjoy that one a lot. Bit overrated though.
Well, it's just because it's so popular. It's good, but it's just you think it's too popular.
No, I think it's like, well, it is popular, but personally, I stopped being into shonens because it's all the same thing. It didn't really evolve too much. The only thing that involved is the fight scenes and the choreography, but like the premise is all the same. I'm more into like the really weird romance harem stuff. I'm a pervert. Leave me alone.
No one was calling you out, JT. But all right, so
we can skip the crisis.
Well, we're finishing up here because I got a couple more things that I want to talk about. But JT, so I want you to look through the list of things and see if there's anything specifically you want to talk about that we don't get to, because I'm planning on just touching on a few more things.
Banishers Ghosts of New Eden.
Okay, well hold on. Let me.
I think that. Yeah, the Don't Nod one. I think that's going to be a good RPG.
Well, here. Let me go through my things, and then we'll come back and do yours more fully. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go.
So we like to inject a little bit of comedy into every episode of Trophy Whores, and what better way to do that than by talking about Nicolas Cage? Nicolas Cage is coming to Dead by Daylight. Quote, the Summer Games Fest crowd burst into laughter with this amazing crossover reveal when we learned Nicolas Cage is coming to Dead by Daylight. The infamous actor also appeared on stage for a chat. Cage called Dead by Daylight a chance for him to branch out since he's never been involved in the video game industry before. The Nick Cage chapter comes to Dead by Daylight on July 25th. I mean, hopefully Nick Cage doesn't ruin Dead by Daylight the way he did Ghost Rider, but we'll just have to see. Any thoughts on Nicolas Cage and Dead by Daylight?
No, I don't like Dead by Daylight.
But do you like Nicolas Cage?
I like The Mummy. Is he in The Mummy?
That's Brendan Fraser. And then Tom Cruise did another version of The Mummy that quickly killed the Universal Monster Universe.
What the hell did Nicolas Cage?
Well, Nicolas Cage recently in Renfield. He was, I think, Dracula in Renfield.
I'm sure there's a few movies that I like with him in it.
Well, everyone likes Con Air and The Rock.
I don't particularly care about the game. Oh, that was it. National Treasure. Yes, I enjoyed him in National Treasure.
That movie's terrible.
All right.
You like what you like, JT. I just didn't like it very much.
Ghost Rider was garbage.
Tricky said Ghost Rider. My God. Is he just naming Nicolas Cage movies because no one thought Ghost Rider was good?
Yeah, and I picked the one that was most...
National Treasure, Face Off. Con Air was good.
Yes, Con Air was good.
I don't know if I actually like most of the stuff that he's in.
There's definitely a split, and Tricky said he was not naming good movies. He was just naming movies. But there's definitely a split in Nicolas Cage's career where you see, there's, definitely after Gone in 60 Seconds, and then, you go on to the later career, and it's like Wicker Man. You kind of see a divide there with... I
actually do like his, deadpan face, he kind of has, this serious face. And I like that. With his gruntled voice and all that. I like that, but I don't particularly like his whole... I don't like a lot of the movies he does.
Well, if you want something very serious, then we can talk Twisted Metal, because we have a release date for the Twisted Metal series on Peacock coming out July 27th. Will Arnett stopped by Summer Games Fest to show off a look at Peacock's Twisted Metal series, which debuts on Peacock on July 27th. The clip showed Arnett's Sweet Tooth in a fist fight with Anthony Mackie's John Doe. So Will Arnett is the voice of Sweet Tooth. Samoa Joe is the body, so you're not going to see Will Arnett dressed up as Sweet Tooth. That would be ridiculous. And Anthony Mackie is John Doe. I assume that means he's the driver of Roadkill. I don't know if they're going to call that in the show, but I'm pretty sure John Doe drove Roadkill in the early Twisted Metal games. So I watched this trailer, and as a Twisted Metal fan whose favorite game is Black, I was not a fan of this trailer. There was way too much comedy in it. The outfit that Samoa Joe's in, the Sweet Tooth version, Sweet Tooth looks great. He looks menacing. The mask, the outfit looks perfect. Samoa Joe looks great as the body. And even Will Arnett as the voice I like. But Anthony Mackie to be John Doe, it's too silly. It's too comedic. I understand that every, series, no matter how dark and depraved it is, always has little injections of comedy, but in this you have him and Sweet Tooth fighting each other, and Sweet Tooth getting the best of him in a fist fight, and all of a sudden Sweet Tooth turns on the jukebox, and it's like, time for fight music, and it's like Sisqo's Thong Song, and you got Sweet Tooth and Anthony Mackie singing the Thong Song, and it's just like, this is too goofy. This I really hope the entire series isn't like this, because if it's not going to be dark enough and, violent enough to be Sweet Tooth or to be Twisted Metal or to be taken seriously as Twisted Metal. It's just going to be, like Michael Bay envisions, Twisted Metal. I was not a fan of this trailer. It was too goofy. It was too comedic. I wish they went darker with it, especially with how Sweet Tooth looks, but I don't have high hopes for this series. I'm going to watch it when it comes to Peacock, but my gosh, this does not look good. This does not look like this doesn't look like they took Twisted Metal serious enough. JT, any thoughts, sir?
I don't have a Peacock subscription, and I will probably... This isn't my thing. I looked at the trailer, and I was like, Is there even like a way for them to make this and not have like some sort of riot?
What do you mean? Like the fans rioting
Like,
about how bad it is?
No, like people. I don't really think that this is a good thing to create, like in the era we're currently in, with all the political correctness.
And what do you think about Twisted Metal is going to set people off?
I don't know. Maybe the fact that there's like pointless murder.
It's 2023, JT. How many times do we have pointless murder in shows just for shock effect?
You'd be shocked what humans will do a strike for.
I mean, I don't have high hopes for this. Being a big Twisted Metal fan, I mean, like, look, obviously, The Last of Us. I saw a preview, a trailer for Gran Turismo in before I went and before Transformers came on, and Gran Turismo.
I think like the biggest deal breaker for me is the fact that it's on Peacock. I mean, I don't know many people who have a Peacock subscription. Is that like a minority thing? Is it used a lot?
Well, it's NBC's personal one, and they basically bought the rights to display like they didn't buy the WB network, but they bought the rights to have the WB network exclusive to their streaming service. So a lot of people, I assume, like to pay $5.
WB11?
They like to pay
Warner Brothers?
Huh?
You said Warner Brothers?
No, NBC.
Oh, I'm sorry. Whenever I think of WB, I think of like WB11 back in the day.
WWE, the wrestling company.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
so it's $5 a month for their lowest subscription. You still have to watch ads and whatnot, but you can watch the WB premium live events, their pay-per-views, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, all that for $5 a month on Peacock, and they also have movies, their television series. So that's
probably why people have this subscription, because of the WB stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, like, when I was watching the Gran Turismo movie, I'm like, I'm not going to see that. But at least it looks like took it seriously. David Harbour's in it. Orlando Bloom is in it. Like, all of these Sony properties that they're bringing to the big screen or to television have big name actors in it. And even the Twisted Metal series, they spent some money on the actors in it. Anthony Mackie. You've got Neve Campbell's going to be in it. You've also got, Will Arnett. They're putting the money behind these, but just to see this trailer and see how unserious it is and how just like it was mostly humor, even though Anthony Mackie's fist fighting a psychopath in Sweet Tooth, like I just don't think we can take this seriously. I mean, if they want them to take this show seriously, stuff like that can't be in there. You can't have Cisco in there. It's just bleh. So you'll be forewarned. I mean, you should watch the trailer, but I don't think.
I saw it on the internet the other day.
And your thoughts?
I mean, not knowing anything about Twisted Metal, I was just kind of like, oh,
it's
okay.
a car combat tournament where people kill each other in order to get a prize at the end, a wish granted. It's like one of the drivers, Mr. Grimm in Twisted Metal Black, wears a skull mask because he was in a war, I think maybe, or a conflict, I think it was Vietnam. He got trapped in a hole, and he ate his companion and now wears his skull around. They had cannibalism in Twisted Metal Black. So that's just kind of an indication of what some of these drivers will do.
The one thing that gets me is, so you've got games like this, you've got games like Gran Turismo, and we're trying to turn them into TV shows or movies. And it's like, to me,
it doesn't feel like a good recipe, does it?
No, it doesn't.
It feels like this is going to be garbage from the get-go. I'm with Yield on this.
There are plenty of other properties that you could do a movie or a show off of that have a story. Not one that you're just kind of, we're going to build a story, but we're going to make it around vehicle combat, or we're going to make it around, racing. And it's like, wow, so it has nothing to do with the video game other than the name. Just my opinion.
Yeah, because there besides the lore for each individual character, there isn't really... The story is so basic. It's not a good, like, recipe for a series.
Well, to be fair, the Gran Turismo movie is apparently based on a true story, which I didn't know. So, I mean, given the human element of that, who knows? Maybe it could be.
I think there could be a good racing movie. Like, look at what was it? What was
Days of Thunder?
Shake a Bake. Where's that from again? I don't
Talladega Nights.
Yeah, look at that, and then look at the Fast and Furious movies. Like,
well,
you can make decent racing movies, but this particular movie is just...
Well, from the trailer, basically what they're doing is they're taking high level players of Gran Turismo, and then teaching them to drive actual cars in the races, and then having them compete. All right, I'm gonna bring us back to the core conversation because we got to get out of here soon. JT, the game you wanted to talk about, or any games you want to talk about from the show that we didn't mention yet.
Yeah, so I was looking at Banisher, Ghost of New Eden. Seems like a decent action RPG. Yeah, you can say that all you want. To go back to that, Baldur's Gate 3 is another one. I'm a huge computer role playing game fanatic. So like top down type of role playing. So I can't wait for Baldur's Gate 3 to finally come out of like that early access and finally get released. And then Liza P. Liza P is a Souls-like. Dark Souls, sorry. Because I don't know, some people, sometimes it's hard to hear, and they'll go like, they'll think I'm saying something else. Liza P looks really good. Liza P.
Inspired by the story of Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Which we know that the fairy tales that we were told when we were younger...
I think is a very interesting spin on it, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we all know, the fairy tales that we were told when we were younger, which seem so light and happy, are actually much darker in real life than we were led to believe. So, a dark turn on Pinocchio could be a very interesting take.
I think so too. Lisfenga, the Time Shift Warrior. It looks like a really decent hack and slash type of game. Okay, so I'm going to give a warning out. Throne and Liberty is now open access, and it's not good, so do not play Throne and Liberty. It's a very bad MMO that just recently came out. Don't buy that. Just don't even bother. And then some others are obviously like the Persona 3 remake from the Xbox showcase, the Persona Tactics game. I can't wait for those, and that's about it.
Yeah, we weren't going to talk about anything from the Microsoft showcase. We were just going to cover the Summer Games Fest. But Tricky specifically wants to talk about the Star Wars game from the Microsoft showcase, which also will be coming to PlayStation. So Sony made sure...
and Avowed and Fable as well.
Yeah, Sony made sure to tell everybody after the Xbox showcase all the games that were coming out for PlayStation as well.
Yeah, because Xbox did the same thing right after there.
Yeah, no, I think Tricky's like, I called that. And it's like, congratulations, you called something, like it's like the sun rising. We all know it's going to happen. So, yeah. All right, guys. Yeah. Before we get too long, let's go ahead and hit our shout outs so we can get out of here this week and I can start editing this monster. JT, sir, as the guest, why don't you go ahead and give some shout outs?
My cousin got married this weekend, so shout out to him. I was a groomsman.
The best groomsman.
I am. Well, I was not the best man. So
No, but I'm just saying you were the best groomsman.
Maybe my brother also was there, so like we both fit into a tux pretty well. So, but other than that, shout out to the community. Shout out to Tricky for inviting me. Thank you. Shout out to you guys for having me on and talking with me. I always love doing it. And that's about it. Oh, hoop socks. Get them now. At Hoop Bros. Whenever they actually have hoop socks. Which will never happen.
Way to try to sell us a product that doesn't exist, JT.
Curse.
Yield, sir, your shoutouts.
Shout out for JT for hanging out with us this evening. Shout out to Alex for doing the hosting. Shout out to Nitro for some Zombie Army Trilogy. Shout out to The Brain. Homer Gets Up, Prepare Dire Scum for some Borderlands pre-sequel. And as always, shout out to the Pimps and Madams of the Whoredom for downloading, interacting with us on social medias, and just being an awesome group of people. And final shout out to Gareth for the rarity contest. It's fun. Good job, man. Yeah,
like to see the gains that everybody had these last couple weeks. It's always good to see the plus 100 numbers for most people. Give a shout out to the community, the fuel to the fire of this Trophy Whores. You all are the sole reason that we have kept going this far, and you are what propels us forward. So thank you for your all's continued support of Trophy Whores and Everything Proven Gamer. Give a shout out to Tricky, who had to work 12 hours, more than 12 hours, and ran home to get some sleep. So that's, why he wasn't on this week, but he plans to be on next week, where I'm sure he'll want to talk about the Star Wars reveal at the Microsoft Showcase. Shout out to Yield for recording tonight, as well as our friend JT. Like I said, JT's supposed to have been on for a while, so I want to thank you for, glad we were able to finally get you on, JT.
Yeah, thank you.
And last but not least, give a shout out to my loving and awesome girlfriend, Ashley. Have to get her opinion on New Tales from the Borderlands, because I only watched part of it, but I love you, honey. Thanks for, we went to the Rim Fair this weekend. It was a good time. So it's always one of my favorite things to do with her, because it's just, and I think actually we're going to go more than one time this year. Usually we go once a year, but I think there's so much activities to do this year that we're going to have to split it into 2 days. So, but yeah, love you, honey. That is going to be the end of my, my shout outs. But, yeah, thank you all for listening. This has been episode 575 of Trophy Whores. Thank you, JT. Thank you, Yield. And until next week, happy trophy hunting.
See ya.
Peace.
And even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12 Stone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.
Can you all hear me?
Now we can. We lost you again.
Do you have a tornado warning?
Can you all hear me?
We lost him again. Hello?